Well, hello and welcome in. Today we are going to be looking at how you can set up your very own alerts on your live stream. We're going to be doing this using a fantastic and free tool called StreamElements, and you can use this on pretty much any live streaming service. I use Twitch, so that's what we'll be using as an example today, but I know this also works on YouTube and Facebook as well. So let's stop faffing around and let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is head over to StreamElements.com. If you haven't yet created an account, that's the very first thing that you need to do. As you can see on here, it can allow you to instantly connect with your Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook account. So for the purpose of today, we're going to be connecting with Twitch. So go ahead and do that. So once you have logged in, you're presented with a wonderful dashboard area. Now within here, you'll see that there's actually loads and loads of useful tools to help you with your live stream. So not just alerts, you can actually get full overlays that are absolutely free. I think they have some premium ones as well, but the free ones are pretty good. I used one of them for at least about, I think maybe 3 or 4 months, and I actually still use the alerts for it. But there are a ton of tools within here. Various things like checking leaderboards, doing giveaways, running contests. You even have a bot available here. So if you're looking for a bot to help moderate your channel or to be able to do timers and custom commands or that kind of thing, you have that all within here. You can get various stats. There's lots of stuff that goes on here, but it's a massive tool that I would well recommend taking a look at. But today, as I mentioned, we are just looking at how we can use this to add alerts to our stream. So if you'd like to see this in more detail, do let me know down in the comments and I'll see what I can do. So for our alerts, we just need to come to either my overlays or the theme gallery. Now, one of the options that you have is you could go and pick up a full theme for your entire stream, and that will come already with some built-in alerts. Something that I've found is that you can actually go into them, find an alert style that you like, and just turn off all of the backgrounds if you want to keep your own specific overlay, and that's kind of what I've done in my stream. But what we'll do for ease of today's tutorial, if it's say the first time that you've ever come into here, we're just going to make a brand new overlay and add just some really basic standard alerts. So to do that, we're going to head to my overlays. Now in here you can see I've got loads and loads of stuff because I have been through the ringer with the number of overlays that I have used and various alerts and that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is just ignore all of that that's there right now. And we're going to choose the option at the top right there, which says create a blank overlay. So the first thing it's going to ask you is to select your overlay resolution. So within here, you can choose for some presets or you can set it custom. Mine is 1080p, but just make sure that is set to whatever your OBS is set to and whatever you are intending to stream out as. So if that's 720, make sure you change that to 720. But in my case, it's 1080. So once you've chosen that, just choose Start. Now this next screen, there's not a lot there, is there? You basically have this great big area with all these little dots all over it. Now what this represents is actually the area that will be your stream area. So anything that we place onto this middle section will appear on that overlay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top and click on where it says unnamed overlay, and we're going to give it a name, something that's easy for us to remember. As you can see, I have a lot of different overlays, so you want to be able to easily tell which one it is that you're working on when you come back and visit later. So in this case, let's call this one Stream Elements Tutorial, because I know that I've made it for you guys for today. And it's really quite simple, and it's going to guide you through kind of what you need to do here. It does say, do you want to add a widget? You've also got this big blue button down here at the bottom, which essentially does exactly the same, which allows you to add widgets. So you can do either of these. So within here, you can see there are lots of different types of widgets. Some of them are alerts, things for various different types of engagement, labels for your stream, custom items on there. You've even got seasonal stuff and some stream tools, which in this case is just your stream chat. So using these, you can go ahead and build an entire overlay really easily. So you don't necessarily need to pay somebody to create something for you. You can actually do it from here, from scratch if you wanted to. So it's a really good and easy place to be able to do that. But today we are just looking at alerts. So what I would suggest you do is to go into your broadcaster software, such as OBS or whatever you're using to broadcast your stream, and to take a screenshot of what currently your stream looks like so that you can easily plan where the alerts are going to appear from. That's presuming that you already have something set up. So you've got your game on there, whatever it is that you're presenting, you got your camera and so on, so that you can very easily tell where these alerts are going to appear. So once you've taken that screenshot, you can come into static and custom. You can choose add an image. So then on this top left-hand side, you can then change all of the properties within that item that you've just put on there. So in this case, it's just an image. So the first thing we want to do is choose this option here, which says set image. So what you want to do is to come up to the top and choose upload. And you can drag and drop your file on, but I'm just going to choose select on there. And I just took a screenshot earlier of my stream, so I'm going to grab that. And there we have it. We can see that I did actually crop it in, so it was exactly the right size that I needed. And I can go ahead and upload that. So once you've uploaded an image, you do need to then go ahead and hit submit. So that's now dropped our image into our overlay area here. So I can grab that and move it around, but it's a little bit small, so we need to resize it. Just click on it and take a look over here on the left-hand side. You have image size. If I set this to auto, it kind of can act a little bit weird sometimes, as in it won't actually just stretch when I go in and pull the bounding box around. So set that to scaled. And then from here, I can come and drag this all the way out until it fills the entire screen. There we go. So I've got myself a nice little template to work on. You can also go into this area where it says position, size, and style. So all of these, when there's an arrow, you can drop them down to get more information. You might want to actually just drop the opacity of that down, depending on what you're working with, if it's a little bit distracting there. But I'm going to leave mine full there so we can kind of get the full effect of what it would look like as if this was an actual live stream. So the next thing that we need to do is click on this plus again at the bottom. And we can now go ahead and add in our alerts. We just want the standard alert box here. So I can give this one a click. And you can see that we've got this kind of little blue outline here. So something I would recommend doing here is it can get a little bit fiddly when you're moving multiple things around on here. Because we've got an image and now we have our alert box over the top, you can sometimes misgrab the background, which is a little bit annoying, a little bit fiddly. So to prevent that from happening, come up to the layers at the top, drop this down, choose our image again there, which is that background. You can rename these if you want to. So for example, we can call that background, just so we know what we're working with. And you can come in here and you can lock that layer. So it is not going to move and be doing your editing. So there's also the option to toggle visibility. So if we toggle that off, it actually pushes it back and it kind of makes it transparent. So again, that's another nice way in which you can have it there as a reference, but not have it kind of in your face as well. But I want to see all of that. So to get all of our settings back that we were looking at for the alert box, we just need to click back on the alert box, and then we can open up settings, and we can see in here is a list of all of the various things that we can change for our alert box. So before we make any changes to anything that we've done there, let's just test what the default is, what it looks like, and see if it's in the right place, whether we like it, and so on. So to do that, what we need to do is click on this great big button at the bottom, which says emulate. We can click this, and it allows us to then look through and choose what it is exactly that we're wanting to see an example of. Just note there, you can actually choose for it to preview live on your stream as well. So as well as it's showing here, you can see exactly what it looked like, and it will show in your OBS once you link this across. We'll come to that in a little bit. Don't worry, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves just yet. So let's take a look at what a standard follower event would look like. So if I click on this one, that's not too bad. That text absolutely needs changing. It's not great. We can also test what it would sound like if we had a new subscriber. And within here, you can see there's actually a little arrow at the side. So you could choose what type of subscriber event. If we just click on this, it will do something random. So for example, there it's just saying Nadia just resubscribed for 20 months. Hooray. But you can actually go in and choose maybe what it looked like just for one. Or you could go in and have a look at what it would look like for gift subs, custom amounts, and so on. We can have a look at what might happen if you've got a tip. We can see what happens when you have a cheer or a raid. So let's try a standard raid there. And so on. Okay, so there's lots of stuff to play with in here. So keep in mind when you're using these that you will need to come over to this left-hand side, and you'll need to go through each of these items here and choose which ones you want to actually trigger an alert, and then go into the settings of each one and configure them so that they all kind of match and they maybe fit in with your brand. You kind of don't want to leave just the standards that you've just seen there. I mean, you absolutely can, but I would suggest that you go and take the time to customize these and make them your own. So if you do want to turn some of these off, you can go ahead and turn that one off if you don't want them alerts popping up on the screen. But for each of these, you can see there is a settings cog on the right-hand side. So you'll need to go through and click onto each of those. So you can see when we've opened that up, we get a little preview there of what the video currently is. But if we want to, we can actually go ahead and change whatever that video is by clicking here. And you'll see that gives us the same screen that we saw when we uploaded our background image of our template of what our stream is, so we know where to place things. Just the same again, choose the upload option, and you can pick a video that you have stored on your computer. So that could be that maybe you have a cute GIF or a funny little video of yourself celebrating because you got a new follower or a new subscriber. There really is no limit, just your imagination. So have a play with that, because that is a hell of a lot of fun to set you apart from other streamers out there who are just using the standard one. We kind of whisper about them because we sent them into the future and they might not see this bit. Sorry if you are watching this back later and you did skip this bit and you decided to come back. I love you, really. So other items that we can do in here is we can change the volume control of that video clip or of the sound that plays. And you can keep the original image, but you can change the sound. So just as we saw with changing the video, we can go into upload sound, make sure that the sounds you are using are either copyright free or that you have permission to use. You don't want to be getting DMCA strikes because of your sound alerts. Let's say that when we get a new follower, we want to have a nice little noise like that, okay? So I can choose that one and submit that. And now if I come and test to see what change that has made, let's go to our follower event. We can hear our little beep boop going off there. I mean, the sound, it could even be you, the sound of you making a noise that you've recorded. I mean, that's not going to get DMCA'd, hopefully. Now, you can also change the layout, so whether the text is going to appear over the top of the image that you use, whether it's going to appear next to it, or whether it's going to appear under it. This all depends on what image you've used and how you want it to look, so have a play with those and see which one you prefer. You can come down into this alert message area. The one that you don't want to change is this name area. Leave that as it is. But you might want to change what wording is here. So this is just the alert message that is going to pop up. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm quite happy with that. You can also choose the duration of it. So if you want it to be shorter, you could set that down to say like 5 seconds. You want it to be longer, set it to 10 seconds. That's basically how long it's going to stay on the screen. So again, another one just to play with until you are happy. If you are familiar with custom CSS, so that's a method of coding, you can turn this on and it will open up the ability to see the CSS editor. I don't like doing stuff like that. I like to keep it simple, so I'm not going to bother with that today. Now we're going to keep going down, lots of little menu items to play with here. Honestly guys, hours of fun in this menu. This next one, if we pull that up, is variations. So this is where you can set up that every time this triggers, you can have different variants of what happens. So if you have recorded maybe 2 or 3 different videos of yourself doing a little dance or having a celebration, this could randomly switch between them each time you get a new follower. So it just keeps it a little bit more interesting. So it's not going to be the same alert every single time. So this one is really fun. You can enable text to speech. You'll have probably heard it on some streamers where a voice, kind of like a robotic weird voice in the background, reads out who has followed. This is also really nice for when people subscribe, because when they subscribe, they can have a message in there, or when they cheer bits. And what this will do is it will read out that message, which is quite fun. You may or may not want to turn that on. It's entirely up to you. But if you do, just make sure you test the volume of it. Make sure it's not too loud and it's not too quiet. If it is either of those, you can adjust using the little slider here. And you can also choose which voice is it going to be. And there's tons of voices to choose from. You can see it's British English at the top. But if we scroll down, there's German, Welsh, Chinese, there's all kinds of stuff in there, so you can go nuts with that one. You can also choose to set a delay to the text-to-speech as well. This is actually quite handy if you have some custom music that's going to play and you know how long that is. So let's say your custom music alert is 5 seconds long. you could actually set a 5-second delay in here to make sure that the text-to-speech plays when the music is finished so you can hear it nice and clearly. In this case, I'm just going to turn that off for this example because that's getting a little bit more advanced. One of the things that you definitely want to change here is the text settings. There's two things within here that you can play around with. There is the normal text area, and then over at the top right, you have advanced here. We're going to stick with the normal text one for now, but you'll want to pick a different font. So there may be a font that you're using for all of your branding all over your stream. I tend to suggest that you pick 2 fonts that you like and you stick with them throughout for your branding. It just helps everything feels like that it belongs to you as your unique brand. If you are using a custom font, there is this option here to enable custom font. So example, if I type in here Salt, that is one of mine, you can see it has now found the custom font there. But you could just scroll down and take a look in this great big long list and find something that you like the look of. So let's try that one, for example. You can also change the color here by clicking in there. You know, the RGB code, you can type it in directly. So this is nice that you get those tools to make it exactly your branding if you happen to know the font and your colors. So you can put the exact ones here, so it's definitely going to match. But otherwise, you can come on in. You can grab this first slider here and change the color. So let's say we want ours to be maybe blue. And on the right here, you can choose the transparency of that. You can then change the font size, the line height, letter spacing, word spacing, and so on. All of the alignments down here, make it bold, italic, underlined, etc. Add texture. Do you want shadow? Do you want to change the shadow color? Do you want a highlight on there? What color do you want that highlight to be? All of the things that you would expect to be able to customize, you can do in here. So play around with that, have fun. Remember, at any time you can go to emulate, you can do your follow, and you can see that is now blue. And we can see immediately that that is not great, not great. You can't really see it. So do make sure that you test it and see that it actually looks visible. So this is why having the background there is really helpful. So you can make sure that the alerts are going to be nice and stand out for you. So let's try that again now that it's just white. So that looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? That looks a bit nice. We can see that clearer there. I'm not mad keen on the placement of this. Let's have it so it's kind of centered underneath my little banner that pops out here. But again, it's entirely up to you. Just play around with it until you're happy. Use the emulate. Like that one. Cool. So all you need to do is then go through and update that for all of your different types of alerts that you want to use. So to get back to there, we just come back up to the top and we hit close settings, and that brings us back to the previous page. So we can go in and we can do the same for our subscribers, exactly the same as we did before. So simple as that. Just a note on the subscriber one, you do have this option here, which is to show subscriber messages. I like that one to be turned on because if they do write a message when they subscribe, it will show on the alert. And then if you are using the text to speech option, it can then read that out for you. So I think that's quite a nice addition. So we're just going to close that one. So as an example, let me just show you one that I created for whenever I get a tip, and I think it's quite a fun one. In here, when I come to the tip alert, I'm going to go and change that video. I have a video uploaded in here already, which is $ raining down. I'm going to go ahead and submit that. We can leave the sound as it is if we want, or we can change that sound. So for sounds, I have a couple to choose from, but for the sake of today, I have a sound that I got off freesounds.com, which is kind of a radio voice saying thank you. And this triggers whenever somebody gives a tip or a donation. I can go ahead and submit that one. So within the tip one specifically, you'll probably want to turn on tip messages because sometimes you get a nice little message in there and you might want it to display on your screen. So make sure you tick that if you do want that. And also you can change the alert message just as we saw previously, and you can see all the different types of variables you can use in there, the name, currency, amount, and the message if you want to include that there. Just play around with it until it's how you like. But what's really important when you start using custom sounds, do emulate it and listen to the volume, because some sounds, they're not all equal. Some of them are really loud and you might actually want to drop the sound volume up or down depending on what that video file level was. So let's see what this one looks like.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been emotional.
I quite like it. I don't like where it is. You don't have to have all of these appearing in the same place. So something to keep in mind is if you are using lots of different types of alerts like we've just seen here, so you've got your subs, you've got your bits, you've got your tips, you've got your follows, they're all going to be confined within the same box. If you want them to appear in different locations, so for example, if I wanted the money raining down on me to maybe fill the entire screen and appear in a different location, what you would need to do is to actually go and add in a new type of alert here and choose a new alert box. So when I now come to layers at the top, I can see I have alert box 2, which is the one that we previously set up, and I also have alert box 3. So I'm happy for all of my alerts to appear in the little area there, but let's just say the one with the tip, I actually want that money to like rain down on me and fill the whole screen. So in this case, what I can do is I can come to my original alert box here, I can go into settings, I can turn off the tip alert here because we don't want to use that little variation of it. I can come back to layers again, I can come to my alert box 3, come back down to settings, and then I can turn off all of the other ones in here. So you could effectively do this so it's different for every single one of these. So now we've just got our tip alert turned on. We do need to go back in here and change our video once again. So let's go select our money and let's change that sound again. So just go ahead and position that one exactly where you want it to be. So now let's go and emulate our tip event.
Thank you.
So now you can see the money rains down specifically
so much
on me, which I think looks a little bit better. But then when we do our follower event, you can see that we have our second alert over there on the left-hand side. So if you do want, like I say, lots of different things going on in different areas, you need to split them out using that kind of method. So when we're happy with everything we've done here, we're pretty much ready to go and move all of this over from StreamElements into your broadcasting software. Today we're using OBS, but it's going to be pretty similar in whichever one you're using. So all of these settings should be pretty familiar. But before we do that, it's really important. We need to go and hide that template image that we've put in the background from here. Otherwise, we'll be able to see it on our stream, and that would just be super weird. Let's click close up here. Let's come back to our layers. We'll go to our background area. So rather than going out and deleting it, which you can do by clicking this delete item here at the top, we're actually just going to toggle its visibility off, because if we want to come back in here later and make any changes, you're probably going to want this template to work with. So let's just toggle it away for now so it will not display. All we're going to get is our two boxes here. We're then going to hit save. If we don't hit save, nothing's going to happen. It won't remember any of this stuff that we've done. No autosave, okay, guys? So make sure you hit save. So anytime you make a change and you want that to be reflected on your stream once this is all set up, make sure you always hit the save button. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to come up here, and you've got this little, it looks like a paper clip, but it says copy overlay URL, URL. So give that a click. And what that's done is it's copied a browser location for all of this work that we have just done. So now you need to go on over to OBS, and we're going to paste that into a browser source. Now, if you want to test all of this off stream before you go live, don't close down StreamElements just yet, because you can use this emulation page once you've embedded it into your OBS to actually see these working on your stream. So just leave that in the background somewhere for now, and we'll come back to it later. So for now, let's go open OBS. Okay, so now that we are within OBS, all that we need to do is to come to our scene where we want to apply these new alerts. So for us, let's just apply them over this, what we're using at the moment. We want to come into sources here, and the little add arrow at the bottom left. Click on here, and the item that you want to do is to add in a browser source. We'll create a brand new one, and we're going to call it StreamElements Alerts. You might just want to call it Alerts. I already have one called Alerts, so I had to think of a different name. And then choose OK in here. So you're probably familiar with this if you've seen any of my other tutorials. Just as a note to you guys, if you are not familiar with what we're doing right now in OBS, I do have a full OBS tutorial. I will link it in the description below, so be sure to check that out. But what we're going to be doing in here is changing the URL in here. Use Control and V, and that is pasted in our StreamElements link. Now, something that you need to do here to make sure it all aligns is to set the width and the height so that it matches the resolution of what you picked within StreamElements. If you remember, ours was 1080. That is 1920 by 1080. Now, something I would recommend in here is that this control audio via OBS, do not tick it. I ticked it the first time I used it, and it stopped my sound coming through. So if you found that that has happened to you and there is no sound popping on your stream, that could be a reason why. So make sure it isn't ticked. You may also want to choose to refresh the browser when the scene becomes active. This is particularly useful for any items that you may have popping up which have a number in there that actually relate back to, say, the number of followers that you have, for example. That's for a different tutorial. We're not going to cover that today, but just keep an eye on that one because it may come in handy in the future. If you ever find that the page stops displaying for some reason or your alert's not working, the first thing that I would do is actually come in here and refresh the cache of the current page. And that very often just rectifies any issues that you're having. In this instance, we're just going to leave it as it is for this tutorial and choose OK. And you can see there, we've got our big bounding box there. We've got our StreamElements alert now showing. So make sure that these appear at the top of all of your sources. So remember, if we put them down at the bottom under here, they're not going to show. They're going to be behind everything. So make sure that they're right at the top, loud and proud, so that you can hear them here. If you need to resize them, you can grab these little areas here and shrink them and so on. But if you have set them up exactly as they were and you used your template, you actually need this box to fill the screen entirely so they appear exactly where you placed them. So now that we have that set up, let's go back into StreamElements. I'm going to leave you on this screen here rather than showing StreamElements, but all I'm doing is hitting that emulate button again so we can check that it has actually linked across. Just to show you why it is so good to use the template that we did earlier, here is the scene that I normally stream with when I'm doing my kind of just chatting and my intro and outro and all that kind of stuff. We've got our StreamElements on, so let me go in and emulate that for you. So we'll do our follower event. That appears there just above that image as we saw. And then my tip one should be all over my face.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been emotional.
There we go. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's really, really easy as well. So I've just got one extra tip for you when it comes to setting up how the sounds come through to your stream when you have these alerts, because sometimes this catches people out a little bit where they either hear duplicate sounds when they trigger their alerts or the viewers can't hear it. I'll just run through that with you now as well to just make sure you have none of those issues. So to do that, you need to come over to your audio mixer that is over here. If that isn't visible for any reason, what you need to do is go to View at the top, choose Docs, and within here you will see Audio Mixer, so just make sure that is ticked so you can see it. On any of the items that are within there, so for example, you can see my microphone bobbling up and down there. You have a little cog. Just click on that cog and choose Advanced Audio Properties. Now within there, if there's anything that can potentially make a sound, it will appear within here. Just note that if the source is currently not active, it won't be showing because of this little defaulted tick box that says active sources only. If I tick that, it then shows all of my other sources and all of my other scenes. So if you can't find one of your sources, that's probably why. So let's just tick that one off because there's a lot to look through there. But what we need to look at is this item here, our StreamElements Alerts. If you need to adjust the volume further, you can do just here. You can take it up or down. But I would really strongly suggest is that you get it right in the StreamElements app website first. The next thing that you need to look at is here for audio monitoring. So follow this line across for StreamElements Alert. And what each of these items in here means is if monitor is off, that means that you, as the streamer, will not hear the alert. So if you don't want to hear it, if you don't want it to keep popping up, then set it to monitor off. If you want it so that only you can hear what's happening, but your audience cannot, you set it to monitor only. That way, it's going to come through just to you. And if you want to hear it and you want your audience to hear it as well, set it to monitor and output. So in this case, I actually would like to hear my alerts so that I know that they've been triggered. And I also want definitely my viewers to also hear it. So I would set this to be monitor and output. And then I would hit close. And that's it. Job done. So what we've covered today for setting up alerts using StreamElements is really just touching the surface of what's possible using this amazing free tool, StreamElements. So I strongly suggest you go take a look at it, try it out, see if you like it. Even just go and take a look at all of their huge range of standard templates. If you just want something to get you started that looks nice and polished and has some nice sound effects, they're a brilliant place to start. And it's where I personally started. And it really gave me a good grounding of I just want to start streaming without any fuss. I can just use all of these, link them into OBS. Dead simple. And this tool is really, really easy to update whenever you like. So you can just come in and update it on the fly each time you want to make a change and add and build to it over time. That's what I did, and so that's what I recommend that you try too. So that's it for today. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of those things that I love. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing all of those wonderful things. If you have any questions at all, I will leave all of the ways in which you can find me down in that description. If you want to speak to me in real time as a real person and get some immediate answers, I stream every single weekday, 9 AM UK time, GMT, over on Twitch. I look forward to speaking to you soon, hopefully. Go on, get yourself over there, it's good fun. But whatever you're doing, have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. 512? Should I do it 512? It's your sausage, guys. This isn't gonna work. Oh, that's the amount that we wanted. Ah, he nodded!